Alright, so for this video, we're gonna do Michael B. Jordan. So Michael B. Jordan's overall face rating is a 5.8. How rare is that? That's 1 in 4. The percentage of people is a top 25%. His side facial score is a 28%. His front facial score is 51%. His total facial harmony is 42. His facial dimorphism is a 5.5. His body fat factors is a 7. His miscellaneous features is an 8.5. So the tier list: tier 1 ideal, tier 2 near ideal, tier 3 normal, tier 4 slight flaw, tier 5 flaw, tier 6 huge flaw, tier 7 breaks harmony. Alright, so these are the overall facial assessment breakdown, the things I feel like are the biggest flaws in his face. In the front view profile, his genetics tend to store a lot of submental fat underneath his jaw. This creates a double chin in the front side view of his face, and the appearance of the fat gives him a double chin look. The nose is lacking in nasal projection at 30% of the nasal bridge length. Each lip measurement from the side view profile is a major flaw because his lower lip protrudes more than his upper lip. These are the rarity scores of other celebrities, so y'all can compare. Alright, so let's start off with the eye separation ratio. So it goes from the distance between the pupils versus the distance between the cheekbones, and his is at 47%, so this is ideal. His facial thirds is supposed to be evenly distributed at 33%. It should not deviate more than 3% away from 33%, and 41 does deviate 8% away from 33%, and 26 does deviate around, I think, like 6% or 7% from 33%. And for that reason, he gets a tier 4, so that is a slight flaw. So he does not have equal facial thirds. His canthal tilt is 3.5, which is decent, so it's normal, but it's not within the ideal range, but it's good to still have a positive canthal tilt. His facial width to height ratio should be compact. So this is the facial features in his mid-face area, or around his mid-face areas, going from the eyebrows down to the upper part of his upper lip. And he does have a tier 1, so that is ideal, but is at the lower end. His jaw frontal angle is ideal at 90 degrees, so this is perfect, so he does have a good jaw angle. His cheekbones high settiness, so high set is his cheekbones. His cheekbones are very high set, or not really high set, I'll say mid set, and at 75%, so this is not too bad. His bigonial width, so the width of his jaw compared to the width of his cheekbones, is at 94%. So that he does have a pretty wide jaw for his face. So this is a near to ideal. It's just a little bit on the wider side. His total facial height to width ratio is within the normal range at 1.45. He does have a slightly longer head shape, but it's not long enough to where you can call it elongated head or anything like that. His chin to full chin ratio. So let me talk about the submental cervical angle. So he does throw a lot of body fat around the under his chin area and his jaw area. So it may appear that his chin is a little bit longer than what it really is. So I still took that measurement, or I added that fat underneath the chin area because of that's what is displayed to me at the moment, right? And I looked at multiple pictures, so I took that measurement as well. So it is at tier 5, so this is a big flaw. The neck width, so how wide is his neck? He has a very thick and wide neck, and at 95% means that this is ideal. The mouth to nose width ratio is a tier 1 at 1.52, and this is ideal. So he does have a perfectly shaped nose for his face, and a perfectly wide mouth for his face as well, and they're evenly distributed. His mid-face ratio goes from the eye line all the way to the eye line down to the upper lip, and your mid-face is supposed to be at least 0.93 to 1. So pretty much it's supposed to be almost kind of like a square in a way, or even, very, very even. And his is not even, so he does have a very compact mid-face area or mid-face region, and this is not ideal. The very next measurement is the eyebrow settiness. So how high set is his eyebrows relative to the eye line, and is at 2.25. And this is a pretty big flaw. and you do want your eyebrows to be more closer to your eyes. It gives you a more dominant and masculine look, which is preferred. His eye spacing should be one width eyes apart, and his is at 97%, which is around one width eyes apart, so that is very good. His eye aspect ratio is a tier 1 at 3.5, so he does have almond shaped eyes. This is perfect. His lower lip to upper lip ratio is a 1.22, so his upper lip is a bit longer in length than his lower lip, or almost close to 1 to 1, and this is still within near ideal. But if his lower lip was a bit lower in length, then this would be within the ideal range, but it's not too bad. His deviation from his ispiralateral aliar angle and his jaw frontal angle. So ispiralateral aliar angle is just the mid-face angle, or the angle created from the mid-face going from the nasion to the outer edges of the eyes, and the jaw frontal angle. So it shouldn't deviate more than 15%, and his deviates at 12%, which is close to 15%, but it's still not a flaw by any means, but it's within the normal range. So he does get a tier 3. His eyebrow tilt is 0 degrees, and this is okay for a man. Men can get away with having a 0 degrees eyebrow tilt, and this is still near ideal. Bitemporal width is a tier 1 at 85%, so this is ideal at the lower end of the idealness, but it's still within the ideal range. And that is how wide his forehead is compared to his cheekbones. Now, the lower third proportions is at 30%, so his lower third is evenly distributed. His ispiralateral aliar angle, so the angle that I was talking about before, that's created from the midface, is at around 102. So he does have wider set eyes, and yeah. Now his gonial angle is a 132, so this is not ideal. This is on the wider side, and this is a tier 5, so that does kind of break a bit of harmony. His nasofrontal angle goes from the nasion all the way up to the brow ridge, so the nasal bridge all the way up to the brow ridge, and his is at 130. Now this is close to the ideal, but I still gave it to him because it's right there, and this is essentially not too much of a flaw. The mandibular plane angle is 13 degrees, and this is a tier 3. Now he doesn't have a downswung mandible at all, which is perfect, and that's probably one of the reasons why he can get away with so much submental fat underneath the jaw. The ramus to mandible ratio is at 68%, so he does have a lengthy ramus compared to his mandible. His facial convexity from the glabella is 164, so he does have a very rounded face shaped, rounded head shape, I should say, from the side view. And this is still within the normal range, but it's not ideal. His submental cervical angle, like I said again, is 107 degrees, and this is still within normal range, or near to ideal actually. I don't know how he's able to pull this off with a good angle. Maybe the way the fat is distributed makes the angle kind of appear perfect, I guess, or maybe closer to a right angle. But still, this is still within a good range, and this is perfect. His nasofacial angle, so the inner angle created from the nasal bridge down to the chin, and this doesn't take effect of the convexity of the face or anything like that. And this is a tier 4, so this is a slight flaw at 6%, and this is due to his nose, like I said before in the beginning. His nasolabial angle is a tier 3 at 89 degrees, and this is more on the lower end, but not too low. Ideally, you want 94, so he's not too far away from it, but this is within the normal range. Your orbital vector, so how positive your eyes are or how negative your eyes are, it depends on the orbital rim, so how much bone support you have underneath the actual eye itself, and you want a lot of bone protrusion coming outside of the actual eye or the orbital rim, and you don't want your eyes to be too protruded. So the next measurement is the total facial convexity. It's a tier 1, so it's perfect at 145 degrees. This also includes the nose in this measurement instead of just the actual facial convexity. So this is the complete total facial convexity, and it's perfect. His mental labial angle, so this is the angle created from the bottom lip all the way up to the chin, and his is at 127. So this is a tier 3. You do want to have a chin that is more protrusive, to give it that more of an acute or tighter angle that it needs to be. And he doesn't really have that much of a projected chin itself, not the jaw, but just the chin itself. His facial convexity from the nasion is a tier 5, and this is 159. So instead of the line going all the way up to his gabella, which is his brow ridge, it goes all the way up to the nasion. And his facial convexity, like I said before, from the nasion, from the gabella, is a bit too rounded. So this is going to make his facial convexity from the nasion even more rounded at 159, and you don't want your facial convexity to be too rounded, so this is a flaw. His nasal projection is a slight flaw. Now, he does have a very high nasal bridge, but the projection itself isn't as much divided by the nasal bridge, so he doesn't have a lot of nasal protrusion, and this is not ideal. His nasal width to height projection is a 96%, so this is within the normal range, but it's not within the ideal range. He does need a longer nose, and I'm talking about longer nose in length. And if he would have had a longer nose in length, it would have been ideal. His E-line, so all of his lip measurements are pretty much bad. So let me just go through this. So all of these lip measurements, as y'all guys can see, these 4 lip measurements are bad. And like I said before, it's because his upper lip, his upper lip is not as protrusive than his lower lip. If your lower lip is more protrusive than your upper lip, you will fail all these measurements. Now his nasal mental angle is a tier 1, and this is also taking into effect the facial convexity of the face, also including the nasal bridge, which includes the chin as well, and this is at 129 degrees, and this is perfect. And this is within the middle of the distribution, so this is perfect. Now his gonian to mouth relationship is a tier 1, and which this means is that he got good alignment with the jaw, and he does have a long ramus for his face too, so this is good. Recession relative to the Frankfurt plane angle, so you do want your chin to be past your the gabella or your forehead region, and also your nasion. So if it's past your nasion and your forehead, then you're perfect. All right, so brow ridge inclination. So this is how inclined your forehead is relative to the Frankfurt plane angle, or relative to the line that is perpendicular to the Frankfurt plane angle. So this line that's perpendicular to the Frankfurt plane angle, the line that you see in the middle of his face, is 18 degrees, and that is perfect. So that is a tier 1, so that's good, and it's masculinizing as well. His nasal tip angle is at 124 degrees, and this means that his nasal tip isn't sharp enough. So it's within the normal range, but it's still not ideal. And yeah, that's pretty much it for him. So he is a 5.8, which is the 25th percentile, and that's not too bad. That's like I guess you could say that's like a high tier normie or whatnot. And yeah, so if you want to get your face rated by me, I'm gonna have my email down in the description. Make sure to email me, and I'm gonna give you the instructions. And from there, I'll tell you what to do next, and you'll get your face rated. And yeah, and I'm out.